one match you were looking forward to at WrestleMania 42 was Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. And then this past Friday on SmackDown, after it was speculated for weeks, could it be Cowboy Bob Orton? Could it be Arn Anderson? Could it be Vince McMahon on the other side of the phone?
Could it be Kevin Owens?
Wait, it's Pat McAfee?
Yeah, you have no idea. I was so excited for this feud, especially after Randy's heel turn. I'm like, great, they're going to have a blood feud. They're going to talk about their 20 years of history. And it's not that at all. We had the segment with Cody and Stephanie McMahon. And what? I don't get it.
So, you know my new rule in wrestling, which is don't overreact. What it said, let everybody in the internet overreact, and then go the opposite way and tell everybody you love it to piss everybody off. But yes, this is strange. It's weird. But I do think the fact that, Cody addressed it obviously later in the night.
Which it sounds like WWE did not know Cody was going to do that.
So that's my point. And then you have CM Punk last night on Raw, who cuts an amazing promo talking about Vince McMahon, talking about Ari Emanuel, calling Pat McAfee.
By the way, I'll let you finish it in a second. I know I shit on CM Punk a lot. I call him CM Pinky, but man, that dude can cut a freaking promo. That was an amazing promo last night. I especially liked the bit when he was talking about how Roman has basically failed in the main event 8 times, and yet he's keeps getting these opportunities. That was my favorite line. I don't remember exactly how he phrased it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes. And I guess my point is, and they're making reference to the fact that SmackDown was rated very low on Cage Match. And they're making reference to the point of the ticket sales because TKO has jacked up the ticket sales. I think we are getting worked into a shoot. And from my perspective, I think this may be all part of a storyline. I think that they are getting the internet community riled up because there's all these reports out there about was the Cody Rhodes promo scripted or not? Was the Pat McAfee promo that he cut before returning about the businesses passed me by on an Instagram Live or an X Live, whatever it was? Was that all part of the plan? I kind of feel like, and CM Punk mentioned The Rock last night. I think we're getting a version on television of Team WWE led by Triple H versus Team TKO led by The Rock. And I think that will be the major angle post WrestleMania. That's kind of how I feel right now, is this will all be a work.
There's people even saying like maybe Triple H is going to get pushed out. I don't know.
And that's why I think they are letting all this speculation come because they know people are online. There's reports out there. This was like a couple years ago now that Triple H is on Twitter during Raw checking the online reaction. Like they know the reaction online is different from the ones we've gotten in the arena. How many times have we talked about online? People have been begging for the Cody Rhodes heel turn. And in the arena, Cody is still getting massively cheered for the most part. I get it. Is it weird that out of all people, Pat McAfee is involved? Yeah, but I will also remind everybody out there that I think, was it The Rock's mother or somebody was involved in The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 17 that no one ever talks about? And WWE, I find it funny that people are like, oh, yeah, they have Jelly Roll involved in it now, and there's Ice Show Speed involved, and there's all these celebrities involved. That is WWE. They have always had celebrities involved. The first WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 1, was main evented by Mr. T. So, and I get it. I think people are pissed off that it's this story McAfee's involved in. I don't think it's the fact that they have all these celebrities involved. I think that's what they're taking it out on.
I think it's both, actually, in this case. And I think a lot of the builds to these matches at WrestleMania haven't quite lived up to what they could have been. Granted, like Seth Rollins and Gunther, you can't, that story, maybe you could have built it up a little more, but WWE was hoping Rey Mysterio would be cleared, and they were hoping Braun Breaker would be cleared. So I get that one.
Well, and now the story is Gunther's going to owe Paul Heyman a favor. We know what happened the last time Paul Heyman owed someone a favor.
Yes.
I'll bet you bottom dollar it leads to Gunther and Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Yeah. But like Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, I feel like, for example, they pulled the trigger way too late on that because I wanted to see them really tell the story of like Finn saying, I'm the one who brought you into the Judgment Day. I'm the one who took you under my wing.
They sort of did it in more backstage promos than like being in the ring together. And that may be because I think Dom is actually hurt and they're trying to get him cleared for Mania. I will say on that story, I would have kept the Demon a surprise. I think that was a mistake, them announcing the Demon already.
Yeah. And they announced the lineups for the two shows today. Yeah. There's, unlike last year where I was so invested in Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, I wanted to feel that way about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I did. But there's not that one match where I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see that.
Oh, for me, there's a few. Drew and Jacob, Punk Roman, Oba and Brock. Absolutely.
No, on that, I'm glad you mentioned Oba and Brock. I think as much as I hate Brock Lesnar, and I still do, I think that has the best build going into WrestleMania. The
ironic thing is that match is going to be less than 5 minutes long. I mean, I would have Brock give a quick F5 to Oba. I'd have Oba kick out at one, pop up, hit him with a fall from grace, and that'd be the match.
Yeah, if Oba does not win that match, something is wrong.
I agree. I think they're going to kick it off night 2 because I think they're going to use the free ESPN hour they have to get people to go over to the app. And if I had to guess, I think Jacob and Drew will probably kick off night 1 because it will be a crazy street fight. You'll get the casuals involved.
Yes, because that's an unsanctioned match. Which the story to that was weird because they made it seem like it was going to be Drew versus Nick Aldis at one point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And this is why I think people are mad at this WrestleMania build because a lot of it didn't go the way we thought it was. And traditionally, we know a lot of the direction coming out of WrestleMania, coming out of the Royal Rumble. This year, we didn't. And I talked about this a little bit today, a little bit earlier on my show. Coming out of the Royal Rumble, we thought Liv Morgan was going to face Raquel Rodriguez, and they were going to do the whole Judgment Day turn. Well, no, actually, Liv's going to face Stephanie. And we thought...
It sounds like Liv and Roxy are both in concussion protocol after how hard they smacked each other.
And, we all thought, could Drew face Cody and Jacob at Elimination Chamber? Or could he do it at WrestleMania? Or could they do a 6-pack challenge with Trick Williams and Sami Zayn? No, we get 3 singles matches out of all 6 of those guys instead of the big 6-way. So I think that this was admittedly one of the bumpiest roads to WrestleMania ever. And the build was not perfect. But the bottom line is, as I've always said, I believe this is true about wrestling. The better the build, the less the show actually delivers. And the worse the build, the more the show actually delivers. because the lesser expectations you have going into it, the more thrilled you will be. There are so many times we are so hyped for this is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. I think the only time that I can remember something living up to the hype of the build was Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. And to me, that build was so special that people are now comparing everything in wrestling across every company to that.
So, like with Sami Zayn and Trick Williams, I love that we're doing that match, but I hate that they had to sacrifice Carmelo Hayes for it, for example. Like, you know, why not do the triple threat match? Like, Carmelo has history with Sami Zayn now because Sami took the title from him. Carmelo has long history with him and Trick. So the triple threat makes sense, but nope, it's just going to be straight up Sami versus Trick.
Because I think the story at WrestleMania is those two, you get the double turn.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think you get Carmelo involved later, whether it's on a SmackDown or at Backlash, you can do a triple threat there. You don't have to do it at WrestleMania.
I think it would have made it better. But,
see, but again, it's like the situation with, like, remember last year, they left off the Street Profits and DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns. Remember the triple threat TLC match? They left it off WrestleMania and they made it the main event of the SmackDown after WrestleMania. That match would have been rushed on WrestleMania. They gave him 45 minutes to an hour commercial free on SmackDown, and it rocked. And they went out there with something to prove because they didn't get on WrestleMania. And yes, WrestleMania is 2 nights, but as we've seen with this 2-night card, not everybody can still get on the card. Last year at this time, Tiffany Stratton and Io Sky, respectively, were the women's champion and the women's world champion. Neither of them will probably have a spot on WrestleMania this year.
Okay, I'm not sure about that. It sounds like Asuka versus Io Sky is going to be at WrestleMania. However, that could change if Nikki Bella is not medically cleared, which would mean the Bellas would be out of that fatal 4-way and the Kabuki Warriors would be in. But from what I've read, Io versus Asuka is going to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way to get Io on the card. I wouldn't put it on WrestleMania if I was the booker. I don't think everybody deserves to be on WrestleMania. I think even with 2 nights, and I think the roster has never been filled with as much talent, and I think you still got to earn it. And this Io Asuka story has not done anything for me. So if it's on there, great. Be a nice filler match for people in the stadium to go to the bathroom. That's how I feel about it.
I think it's crazy that neither set of tag titles are going to be defended. Because, like, the Vision are teaming with iShow Speed against LA Knight and the Usos, and R-Truth and Damian Priest aren't defending their titles.
Yeah, I think this WrestleMania card changed multiple times. I think injuries to Brunson Reed affected this card a lot. I think Seth Rollins getting injured back in October, and I know you're saying it's 6 months away. How could that be? I think the Rollins injury messed up a lot of plans for WrestleMania this year, because I think that there was a plan at one point for Roman and Cody. There was a plan for maybe Rollins Punk, maybe Rollins Breaker, or maybe Rollins Reigns. And I think the combination of Rey Mysterio got injured, then Seth Rollins got injured twice, and they just had to make plans. They had to make changes. And this is how we got to some of the people like LA Knight being thrown in a random 6-man tag with the Usos and iShow Speed.
Yeah. But, like, getting back to the main topic, like I said, I was so excited when Randy won the Elimination Chamber and we got the major heel turn, and Brandon seems to have disappeared.
I'm here. Okay, I got lost in my virtual background, apparently.
But it's just like, what are we doing? Like, you could have told a great story. Like, they have so much history together. And instead, we're talking about ticket sales and Randy needs to save wrestling. Like, I don't get it.
This may be act one of the story. And I think the problem is people are so scarred from what happened last year between Cena and Cody, they think the same thing's going to happen again. And it may happen again with Travis Scott. Maybe Pat McAfee plays that role. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride and see what happens.
I'll probably only be able to watch night 1 of WrestleMania because night 2, I will most likely be working at Cleveland Monsters game. That's not going to end until right when WrestleMania is supposed to start.
Well, or a Cavs game. I mean, so that weekend is the first weekend of the playoffs. The Cavs are going to have a home playoff game at some point.
Well, yeah, but the Monsters are supposed to have Fan Appreciation Day on the 19th at like 3 o'clock.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the Cavs will be Saturday then. Because unless they do like Sunday night, right? They can't really transform the court in like a couple hours, can they?
Usually when they've done that, the Monsters game is at noon, and then the Cavs game is later.
That's what I mean. So I wonder if the Cavs Hawks smell like a Saturday noon game to me. I'm just gonna put that out there.
We'll see. But you and I are both going to a pay-per-view this weekend.
We are. TNA Revolution. I sent you notes.
Rebellion.
Rebellion. I apologize.
Revolution is in AEW, which there is also an AEW
pay-per-view. It's a
Dynasty.
The next week in sports and wrestling is going to be us being consumed by content.
Yes. I will most likely not be able to watch Dynasty because I am going to be working the Cavs game against the Washington Wizards for Fan Appreciation Day. But, there's some really good matches on the card for Dynasty. MJF is defending the AEW World Championship against Kenny Omega. You got Jon Moxley going against Will Ospreay for the AEW Continental Championship. Jamie Hayter is challenging Tekla for the AEW Women's World Championship. Andrade is facing Darby Allin. If Darby wins, he will be the number 1 contender for whoever is the champion coming out of Dynasty. So Dynasty looks like it's going to be a good card. But I don't know if I would have watched it anyway because, Rebellion was a crap ton of money. My God. And I am so excited for Rebellion.
Wait, how much did you spend for your tickets then? If it's a crap load of money, I'm curious. If you don't want to reveal it on the air, you don't have to.
No, but, I will say it was more so the fees that got me because I bought 4 tickets.
Oh, okay, I got you. See, we just bought 2, so
yeah,
I guess it's not as bad.
Yeah, and it is at Wolstein Center.
I was surprised. They were very similar to what WWE ticket prices were before TKO hijacked them up. I thought they'd be like below what that was.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good to have a pay-per-view in the Wolstein Center. Because I've been to like AEW events there. It's a really good venue for wrestling. There's not really a bad seat in that venue.
I've been there one time. It was December of 2010. It was post WWE, the house show during the Christmas season. That was the only time I saw Edge wrestle. There was a triple threat main event steel cage. It was Edge, CM Punk, when he was wearing the mask at that time as part of the Straight Edge Society, and King.
Huh. I've been there a few times for AEW shows. I've seen Jeff Dunham there a few times. I've been to one Cleveland State Vikings men's basketball game there. It's decent. But we're getting
real quick, because we did not get to this. What did you make of Y2J's return?
Definitely unexpected. because everybody was saying, oh, he's going to come back to WWE. And then, it doesn't entirely surprise me because AEW was in Winnipeg, but the way they brought him back was so funny because Tony Schiavone's in the ring trying to get the contract signing going for MJF and Kenny Omega. The pyro goes off once and he tries to go again. Pyro goes off again and he's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Jericho gets back in the world title picture because I know Jericho came back to AEW for obvious reasons, the schedule, the money, creative control, and all that. I'm just interested to see now how they use him.
Yeah, he's going to address his return on Dynamite tomorrow. We'll see what happens with that. I don't expect him to have a match on Dynasty. We'll see. My guess
I just find it weird. I mean, his last few months in AEW before he went on hiatus, he was basically an ROH wrestler.
Yeah. He was the ROH champion, but he lost that to Mark Briscoe.
I thought Tony had a falling out. Apparently not.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for AEW to bring a pay-per-view to Cleveland.
How did we go from Jericho's going to be on the Raw January 6th Stranger Things edition? Jericho's going to be on at the Royal Rumble. Jericho's going to be in the box. Jericho's going to be on Dynamite?
Yeah. And we all thought Jericho was going to be at WrestleMania.